What's up, people? Welcome back to another Lost Recollection guide. This time I'm gonna go over the current endgame setups, like the buffs, like the tactical Rs, the gears, and etc. To do basically just insane DPS and etc. But I just want to make this video out first, and then worry about the others later, because you're gonna be seeing the similar stuff in the other video, so it will make more sense to explain it once like usual and talk about what are the buffs each one does, and then like the setups, like what are they supposed to do, and an explanation for it. Other than that, I will be doing some of the guides for the low budget builds. Well, not really low budget builds, more like with a divine beast gears and weapons for the raid 1, so people that can actually farm raid 1 with a little bit lower gears. But after that, I will be just going straight into maximum setups with all the endgame gears, current endgame gears, whatever we have in this game right now, and for the raid 1. Maybe I will do the other raids if I feel like it, because the boss fight is not difficult. It's just get to the boss fight, it takes a little bit time. That's about it. But I'll probably do them. When I have time here and there, I'll just do that. But for the time being, just focus on raid 1, because that's the only raid you really need to upgrade your weapons anyway. So yeah, and other than that, I'll be go over the setups currently, and then yeah, let's do this. Okay, first thing first, I want to special thanks Leon for sharing this basic structure for me. And yeah, he tested like a while ago. Like, I wanted to wait because there's stuff I'm gonna change. So we talk about a lot of those builds and etc. Like testing, in private. And other than that, yeah, special thanks to him for setting up early on. And then I get to tweak the playstyle, however that I like, because it's one thing. In the most important thing in LR is that you have to adjust to your own play style, like the buffs rotation, the source skill connections on top of the chain. So you have to meet that level 3 chain. If you want to do the mass amount of damage, you have to understand and rotating your buffs, and then get between 3-3, 4-4, and 5-5 or somewhere, and then on top of the level 3 chain for the mass amount of damage possible. So there's all timing. There's 13 different weapons, 13 different timing, so you have to meet every single one of them. It's a lot. That's why I say I waited until I finish all the divine beast weapons upgrades, so I can actually play every single weapon and trying to understand it and master it. It's like, it's not as easy to use 13 different weapons, because you switch them differently, and then yeah, not a small feat. And yeah, that's the whole reason, and pretty much done. I mean, I use every single weapon to beat beat raids, and then trying to get used to the timing, and yeah, they're pretty much good to go. Other than that, I'll be going over the setups I use, why I use it, as usual, in the first more detailed explanation video, so I don't have to, it'll save me a lot of time to explain in the future video. I don't have to worry about too much. Now I'll be just going over rapier in this video, and I will go over all of the weapons when I'm doing the raid video guide. So other than that, let's get started. What would you need? Obviously the upgraded rapier from the divine beast. It is the best rapier in the game. A lot of people ask like is the raid versus the upgraded divine beast, like which one is better? Almost all of the upgraded are better. There is only like one-handed sword, dagger pretty close, and shield axe that are like that's from the raid. That's the only only weapons that are actually better than the upgraded divine beast weapon. Like pretty much all of them are upgraded because they have really high damage. That's very, very important. You know, some of them has really good stats as well. Because you're relying on finish art to do damage, so you basically need whatever damage you can, because you're not just rely on soul skill in this game to do damage. You want finish art for damage, so that's why these weapons are better, the upgrading, because they're high damage. Some of them has attacks and etc. You know, besides the stats. So that's the whole reason behind it. And yeah, other than that, the best armor, the championship from the level 70 Ishkan, you definitely want the passive, you know, for the ally gauge regen +4. That's the main focus, and the SP, all the other stuff. It's a very good armor in general. The Malphite bracelet, it is definitely one of the best accessory in the game because it gives a super high stats and a 5% attack. The Goliath, the talisman, is really good if you want to use for finish art. You know, a lot of people ask like if you can use the old setup. Yes, you can use the old setup. Technically, you can use anything you want. You can use this if you worry about combat fidelity that's low, or you don't want to worry about customization in sword skills. Then you just like you can just use this to do all 4 raids, and you'll never need to change it. It works fine. You just have whatever you prefer. I mean, there's other options. There's so many divine beast accessories and raid gears, like accessories. So you put on whatever you want. But for me, like to get the most out of the, you know, damage wise for finish art, it's just Malphite bracelet and then the Goliath. I mean, like the other setup, you can use it. It's not that you can't use it. It's fine. It's just like for the most damage wise for the time being. Yeah, just those two, it should be fine. Other than that, Yuna has the same thing. It's just that I already talked about it. Her setup with the extra, you know, 10% buff duration. Those two accessories I already covered, so I don't really need to tell you where the location is. If you're not sure, just watch the drop list or the location list, whatever. And other than that, the same thing. Yu-Gi-Oh, he will be carrying a ray sword for damage. He will be my tank and DPS at the same time. So other than that, the same setup. He will have a little bit more combat fatality. I mean, I would love to give him the another bracelet from the raid 2 where it has a 5% attack, but he's combat fatality probably too low for the higher raid. So I'm just giving the raid 3 boss accessory, and this is a different bracelet. This is drops only if you beat the boss, and then you'll get it. Now another Goliath talisman for the damage. So other than that, just my whip user is just the ray gears and plus the buff durations and then the armor. So that's pretty much it. It's pretty straightforward for the character setup. You just need multiple copies, the same, you know, same stuff for them. The one thing I want to mention is that you can use anybody with the invincible. So I chose Yu-Gi-Oh because I just like, you know, I keep swapping around. You can use Leafa, you can use Yuki. They're invincible and one-handed because one-handed has really good debuffs. They do that. Other than that, yeah, just anybody with 1H and you know, and invincible. So let's go over the skill palettes. The skill palettes, I'm only gonna be using 4 sword skills. Now the combo finisher, I don't touch them that much anymore, but I still have them on. Occasionally, like when I do, like, you know, I don't feel like using sword skill wasting my SP, I will use that a lot. And I only keep a win 3 mostly crystal just in case if I ever need more, which I almost never place it down, but you can place it down if you want more damage. Wind area is good if you want more speed. Most of the time you won't need wind. You can do all of them without using wind, but I just have it on and I want to use it. That's about it. Killing blow, I mean not killing blow, heavy blow. This is really good for stun the enemy if you ever needed like to buff or emergency. Just, you know, use that because sometimes the enemy keep attacking. It's kind of annoying if you want to buy you some time. And the other buff don't matter, whatever you want to put it. So the linear is good because I want sword skill that's fast. I need them to be fast for all the weapons, so not just for damage, whatever is fast. And you know, Spica is just for speed minus, Star Splash down powered 20%. Just be aware there are buff limits in this game, so it's the same as AL, so 20 of them. Some of these sword skill gives down powers and whatever, like it takes a buff slot, so you gotta be careful. You have to include your tactical art on top of that so you don't over buff yourself. You over buff yourself, you're gonna do less damage, so don't over buff. Use the right amount of buff, which is 20, the max. No more, no less. Now you can use less, but you know, no more. Mirage is definitely the best alt, period, currently. So other than that, go over customization. I don't have anything for the alts. You can, if you want to, double up the bracelet, but I don't really. To me, I felt like the Goliath plus the bracelet is better for the damage, but you can double. It's also possible it might be just the string is a little bit low compared to the Goliath that I have. But if you can get really good, Malphite bracelet, you can double it both for the 5% attack. Like for other weapons, I haven't really bothered it because it works just fine. You can double it if you want to. If you only have one accessory, you can double it too. I already showed you guys how to do that, but I'm just not gonna put anything on there. But for other, I probably will. Now the other 3 sword skill is really simple. This one, the Acrobat Talisman, drops from the first Divine Beast, and it has that passive where, like, I can't show it here. Let me go to the main. It has that passive where it allows you to, on skill connection, your SP cost minus 5%. It's really good. Skill kinetic EX maximum +1. And you can actually do a lot more skill connection and use less XP, because you don't really need to do too much damage with them. The other one is the same thing. I just have a high combat fatality, so I'm probably never gonna miss the target. And other than that, yeah, just basically skill connection. And then this one has like minus 10 SP too every time you use, so double those. And yeah, pretty much the same for the other sword skills that's non-ultimate. So that's pretty much it. And yeah, that's the setup for the skill palette. Now let's go over the most important part, the tactical art. Myself excluded because I don't use it, because you don't need it. Yuna, just for emergency healing. Sometimes, like, I just put the healer on because she will use it, she'll heal it. You know, there's one thing is that sometimes she doesn't use all 3 in a row, but most of the time she does. And she heals pretty much with 1 or 2 anyway, so if you need healing. The other one, just make sure you put them all into order. And then the other ones, Sword of the Goddesses. And then speed, so double speed, because Yuna has that enhancement where the +1, where you can enhance further for these like, for example, skill speed plus 10%. If she enhances it, it'll be like 15%, I believe. So this one will be minus SP cost, and then regen, and her exclusive for, like, you know, stats doubles and other stuff. But other than that, more damage, down. I mean, behind the back, down, damage. Good thing they fixed the firestorm, so now you can put on the you know, the enhanced +1 user, like dagger user with the alliance, because this used to be bugged. This will give you negative numbers when you buff, so it's not a positive number. So now they fixed it during the 1.05 patch. You can keep that on. Fire Spark, I don't really need it. I don't really have any buffs left, so I might as well put that on anyway, so it's all good. Next, and yeah, the chain. And then the Mad King is really good, get some attacks and crit rates. And other than that, just chain. And 1 debuff, Child Chaos. That's all you need. I mean, you don't really need a lot. And then her, you know, her debuff with the Scream, so you can do a little bit more damage when she uses that source. I mean the buff. Other than that, she's pretty much set. Now let's go over our tank slash DPS. Now just having 1 for down, and yeah, Fulcrum is good, Sonic Leap for debuff, Nova Ascension debuff, and then this one is just alt, I mean why not, and then loop it back with a Sonic just in case if the first one runs out, the second one can follow, but which is not the case, and it's fine. And then I keep two same thing because you don't really need to put too much on like one-handed user that much. And vertical is really good because he will launch a break enemy. So a lot of times you don't even need to launch the enemy yourself. He will do it for you, or one-handed user will do it for you. And then Sonic Leap, and then the same thing. This one is the same thing, so I'm not gonna go over it twice. The next one is the command soul skill when the enemy is down. Killing, I keep calling it killing blow because it looks like it's a heavy blow. The defense minus 3% is very important because you can get more damage when the enemy has, defense down. The one thing is you have to make sure to use that is not when the enemy is in break state or before break state, because it will stun the enemy and you won't be able to down it. You can't mind break it, so you have to use this in the aerial or down, so that way it does not interrupt the enemy. It's very important. So loop it back with Sonic Leap, and then should be good. He is set. Now whip user. Whip user, I changed it to my style play, and this is only for rapier setup. It's good to have the allies gauge, and then the Billion Blossom, because this buff is where I'm only gonna buff once before enter the boss fight. After I enter the boss fight, I won't use this at all. So it's just basically a pre-buff, and then yeah, you don't ever need to touch it afterward. And the other thing is that I would take off God Rope if I don't use Rapier. So if you use Rapier, put God Rope on for the physical double, because you can do more with the Mirage. And other than that, 2 Mind Break, because you have the back-to-back, and a rotating buff on top of the Mind Break. So Crimson is important because you have to use this skill, this buff, and then use Sword skill in order to stun the bosses, to do more damage. Not damage, to Mind Break it, because like the boss usually attacks or doing something, your Mind Break is gonna miss. So whenever this pops and then you do a Sword skill, it's stagger, and that's where you can Mind Break it almost every time. And yeah, Heroic Aura is for defense minus, Howling Soldier for some for some attacks, and then yeah, double Mind Break just in case one missed. And then the second one is a little bit different. It's the same thing for 3 of them, but the buffs, this is where I talk about where you don't need to buff that first one again because they're all covered. You just have to rotate two Mind Breaks. So you go with this one, and then the next down you go with this one, and then you back and forth. So therefore you don't really need to worry about the pre-buff because both of them are covered. So they're including in Mind Break, so you can just keep using one and switch to the other one, and you get the buff without actually going back to the same buff. It will save you a lot of time. Now the last one is the down, so just Galvanize for SP, and then Fry down, that's like the you can use a little bit less combat fidelity when that hits, and then back-to-back, because that way I can actually use 4-4, 5-5 without worry about SP, and then the whip out for defense minus, and then some minus to finish it up. And just make sure you put them into order, that way they don't use any of that stuff themselves. And that's pretty much it for the tactical setups. Yeah, it's not like it's super complex, but once you understand what they do and how they do it, you'll be fine. That's why I'm saying you have to set it up to where it will fit your style of playing, not necessarily like what other people use. You have to be able to understand how how to do it in order to master it. The buffs is gonna be the same no matter what, because there's only like same amount of buffs. So it depends on how you place them and how you use them. That's the key. Other than that, strength food, if you need. I don't use strength food because I don't feel like swapping it out. I'm already doing insane amount of damage without the strength food. If you want to do overkill, you can use the strength food. It's not really necessary because I always keep the detection on because I'm running it back and forth while I'm doing the raid, so I don't get detected. So it's kind of like a waste if I eat this food and then replace it just for a little bit more damage with a strength. I mean, plus minus 30 seconds or less, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't affect the entire run. So that's why I don't really need to worry about strength food that much. If I want to do overkill, I'll put strength food on, but I'm just gonna show you guys you can also kill it really fast even without strength food. So other than that, yeah, let's go over to the gameplay, shall we? Okay, so let's go over the fight. So what you're gonna do is pre-buff. Now, you want to do this rotation if you're doing the raids or whatever. If you can't kill it in like rapier, you gotta do it like a little bit a few down. So you wanna rotate the buff, circle X, square. I mean on PlayStation, but you get the idea. If you're on Xbox, you do the same rotation, but you just go in the same loop. You go in the clockwise, and then that way you can keep rotating the buffs. And for the bottom, you're going the clockwise, but you only go with the first mind break, second mind break, like which is the circle and X. So you back and forth, back and forth. So keep rotating that, and meanwhile rotating this. So this is kind of tricky because you have to rotate two different buffs, and then when the enemy's down, you have to remember to press the down, attack for the one-handed user and the whip user for more damage and trigger the the multiplier and faster chain. So other than that, just the trickiest part is literally trying to memorize, well, which buff did I use. Well, that comes to experience and play. Sometimes I even forget like what buff did I use the previous buff. So it doesn't matter if you press the wrong one, no big deal, just redo the cycle. It's not gonna matter too much, so yeah, just keep rotating the buffs until you get back to where you are, and remember it. Allies gauge is you will have more than enough allies gauge. Just press circle, press the AIs when you need it. So other than that, let's do that. I'm gonna pre-buff. So once you enter the fight, you want Yuna to buff real quick the second buff. And then I'll be doing some soul skill, and then and then do the mind break. And then Yuji will be up, and then now here's the time to do all three of them at once. Now I'm gonna try to go for a 4-4 or even 5-5. There we go, 5-5. Cancel. Yeah, this is a little bit ridiculous. I don't even have strength food on there, but strength food you can definitely hit it to half at least. So next time he gets up, and then you just mind break it once more. Try to stagger it. So up. And then that's about it. And then just repeat. Yeah, that's why you melt them so quick. Like, it's practically 2 down. I mean, I don't even use strength food. With strength food, he's dead. There's no other to it. So you can do just fine without strength food. That's why I don't use it, because I want to keep the enemy detection and save some food. That's about it. So that's just how broken, once you understand how the buff rotation works and everything clicks at the same time, it is the hardest part is to understand the timing of the buff and the timing of the chain. As you can see there, I match the soul skill connection all the way to 5 to match that chain 3 just enough time to pull the finish art. So that's where you can get the maximum amount of chain damage on top of the soul skill, then on top of the finish art. in order to hit them, you know, maximum damage. It is ridiculous. So it will be the same for all the other weapons. There might be accessory changes, depends on your combat fidelity and what raid you fight, but the rotation buffs are practically the same, so it won't be any difference. So other than that, that's pretty much it. You have to understand, I kept repeating because it's important, you have to understand the timing for every other weapons in order to pull off like that. Well, not like rapier, but rapier is so broken. But with other weapons, you might go in with like, you know, like maybe extra one more down or two-ish. So it'll be somewhere like that. But I will show that in the raid video. But after this video, I'm just gonna focus on making a you know, raid guides for people who are doing it, you know, early on, not with the upgrading divine beasts and all of these gears yet. You know, but I will have like minimum of like, you know, divine beast gears and etc. So other than that, yeah, that's pretty much it for the guide. That's how you will obliterate bosses in this game currently. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoy it. Until next time.